This video will teach you how to build a 6-foot by 3-foot wood panel for art. And of course, you can utilize the methods taught here to build a variety of wood panel sizes. To begin, we will cut the longest boards on our frame. The frame is the support to our surface. I will cut 2 boards at 6 feet. I'm using 1 by 4 inch 8-foot common boards. I purchased 5 of these at a hardware store. For accurate cuts, obtain a quick square layout tool. They are good for drawing lines and guiding your cuts. Add clamps to secure your board for cutting. I'm using a Japanese pull saw and will begin each cut using the square tool as a guide. I'm going to be going slowly until I'm confident that I will finish accurately. Take your time. After cutting 2 6-foot boards, we will cut our 3 inner supports at 29 inches. I take into account the width of my top and bottom pieces to ultimately get my 3-foot measurement. If you have a circular saw, these cuts can go much quicker. To attach these boards, we will use these tools. This is a pocket hole jig. Set your jig guides to 3/4 inch. Every pocket hole set comes with a special drill bit with this collar. Set the collar depth to 3/4 inch. Insert the drill bit into the drill guide and bring the drill up to full speed, drilling into the pocket hole. Line your boards flush with each other. We will use this bit, which comes with the pocket hole jig, and 1 1/4 inch screws. Then simply drill into the holes you created. And of course, we will need to do this 6 times to attach and secure all pieces of our frame. With some of these, you might have to get a little inventive, but always use your clamps. I found 1/4 inch plywood, 4 foot by 8 foot, at my local hardware store. With your frame completed, rest it on top of this plywood, making sure that one of the corners is squared up and flush with your plywood. Then we will trace the boundaries of our frame onto the plywood, giving us guidelines for our next task. I'm using this wood glue and applying it to the frame in order to attach my plywood. Rest your plywood down shortly after applying the glue and square up one corner of your plywood to the frame. I will be using these 3/4 inch brads designed to work in an 18 gauge brad nailer. I have a power nailer, but you can find manual nail guns for much cheaper. Now simply follow the guideline you drew earlier and space out your brads. Now we will begin cutting off the excess material. Once again, I'm using my pull saw, making slow, steady strokes and using the frame as a guide. Go as slow as you need in order to cut flush with the frame. During this process, I inserted an extra sawhorse under my cut-off material to provide extra support, as well as some other adjustments to prevent the weight of the excess material from tearing off and blowing out the back end. The longer 6-foot cut was a little more difficult, but take it slow and use similar methods taught in your previous cuts. I will use 120 and 220 grit sandpaper to make sure my frame and wood panel are flush with each other. Careful not to round any edges or sand too aggressively. For the holes that your brads made, I use this wood filler. After it has dried, sand it down. To prepare for sealing and priming your surface, I will remove any sawdust with a vacuum and rag. This polyurethane will seal my wood for the primer. Make sure it is a clear matte finish. Wood will naturally absorb paint, water, liquids of any type you put onto it. This sealer will fill in those pores. Make sure to spray at a good distance, not too close, and spray evenly. Don't forget the sides. I also sprayed the backside. I'm not sure if this was necessary. If you have any drips, you can use a rag to wipe them away. For the primer, I'm using acrylic gesso, which I purchased at an art store. This will provide the surface our paint can adhere to. I applied 2 coats of gesso, and after each coat dried, I sanded the surface to the smoothness that I desired. Next, you will want to visit your local frame shop and obtain some hardware. I'm using these steel D-ring hangers with 3 screw holes. Whichever way you position your frame, the hangers will always be 1/3 of the way down. To make this easier on myself, I pre-drill small holes, making sure not to go through the other side. Now I will demonstrate how to tie the knot. Go over the top of the D-ring, pull out some slack, and with the slack, go over the top of your wire. Then under the D-ring, over the D-ring as demonstrated. Then pull tight the formation you've made. This is what you can do with the excess material. For the other side, take into consideration how much slack you give. You don't want the wire to be completely stiff or taut. Allow some give, as I have demonstrated. I put these felt pads behind the frame on the bottom to help protect the wall where this panel will rest and help the panel look less tilted. Thank you for watching my video. Here is a quick time lapse of what I painted on this wood panel. If you would like to see more content from me, please subscribe and have a nice day.